Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday, which means that we are playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland from Fria Ligan. This is the fourth episode of this second arc of it that we've been doing. We're all having a ruddy, lovely time. Below the video are links to our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, our social media accounts, our Discord, which you should come and join if you enjoy this and chat with us, and the other people who are involved in the channel, and also our Patreon. So if you like what we do, you can support us there. Other things we do on the channel: on Wednesday we have Simba Room, which is our longest running thing on the channel, and normally on one weekend day a month we do a one-shot adventure. This month we're doing two because one carried over from December. So this coming Sunday the 22nd we have the One Ring, which is everybody's really looking forward to. It's going to be great. So, right, let's do recaps from last week. So let's bring on John first, who plays B. Hi, John. Do you want to tell us about the beginning of last session?
Yes, and I will also show the new character art.
Yay! Expertly done by you, of course.
Yes.
I haven't seen these, so I'm just like,
no. I think every player's seen their own, but yeah, it's a complete surprise to Jonny as well. Yeah, we started off the session with breakfast and James almost slightly setting everything on fire. B went to give him a hand and had a bit of a chat with him and asked him about this Gladys Pugh that keeps coming up, and James didn't recognize the name. Said if the barman didn't recognize her, then there might be a particular woman called Lucy Jenkins in town, who is a merchant, big air quotes, that might know something. When we went through to talk to Lady Spence afterwards, Lady Spencer also didn't recognize the name of Gladys Pugh. Definitely recognized the name of Lucy Jenkins, was not at all impressed. Said that she maybe had a bit of a habit of selling expensive, useless things to gullible people. And then James stayed very quiet and ate a sandwich in the corner. So we decided we should probably go talk to her.
Yeah. Then the group headed out to explore the moors, which is where they'd seen some strange lights the day before. So let's bring on Justin, who plays Gale Mosling Forcemark. Hi, Justin. Oh, can't hear you.
How about now?
Much better.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, it was a great day out. We went for a jaunt into town, but on the way we explored where some of the lights had been shining the night before, while we were traversing the moors, and found a fire, the remnants of a fire that was maybe recent or at most a few days old. Found a tinderbox, things like that, signs of inhabitation. And then we also found a stone circle and a well. And the well itself, we couldn't really see much. We dropped a stone down it, couldn't really hear anything, couldn't hear any water down it. But Hux had the smart idea of dropping something on fire down the well and illuminated a skeleton at the bottom. So all in all, quite a jaunt, quite a leisurely day out. Skeletons of ne'er-do-wells who climb down wells. There's something in that. I think some kind of pun there. I think if we could tease it out.
Yep. Very fortunate, of course, that the well building hadn't been abandoned because they discovered an oil main or something of that nature, natural gas pocket. That could have ended poorly. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville. Hey,
Hello.
Steve.
Hello.
So after you'd been sort of at the peak of this moor, Henry had spotted the stone circles, I believe.
Yes, using his binoculars, which are a class item that first use, and it worked, so that's great. So yeah, Henry spotted these stone circles some distance away, and we travelled over there towards them on the way to town. We did encounter some rather treacherous ground, some sort of boggy marsh or whatever, but Henry was able to avoid sinking deep into that. The stone circles themselves, there are 3 rings of stones and then 2 separate standing stones near them. I think we had a look around. We couldn't see any particular sort of symbols or anything like that, but we marked them on the map that Marsling has. Then had a bit of a chat about what possible things might, whether the floating lights that we'd seen, whether they'd maybe been leading people towards their doom, like falling down wells, or maybe to safety, maybe away from things like that. But we don't really know much about that sort of thing, so just idle speculation, really. And then we headed off to. We split the party at that point. Some of us went to the church, and the others went to the pub.
Yep. So let's bring on Inga first, who plays Constance Kirk, to discuss the visit to the church. Hi, Inga.
Hiya. So Constance went to the church along with Mosling and Bonneville. It was a very nicely well-kept church, which was lovely to see. Was it vicar rather than the priest?
Yeah.
So the vicar didn't recognise the name Gladys Pugh, but he let us have a look through some of the records. So Bonneville helped Constance have a look through to see if there were any birth records, so kind of guesstimating the right sort of time based on the general description of what her age could maybe be, how far back, we kind of look back through some records, but we didn't find anything there either. But just kind of chatting to the vicar generally, which Mosling had a good old natter with him. But we generally we learned Dan's surname, which I don't think we'd known previously. So it's Dan Penhaligon. And we learned that the constable would be in the next day, the Thursday, as well as a historical society meeting in the church. So we may want to come back tomorrow so that we can maybe chat to the constable about the bones in the well and stuff like that. So we might be coming back. Constance had a bit of a quiet moment to pray, which made the vicar quite happy. And Mosling and Bonneville had a stroll around the graveyard.
Yep. And then meanwhile, at the pub, let's bring on Sam, who plays Hooks, Magnus Huxley. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
So yes, tell us about your discussions in the public house.
Yeah, I just want to say amazing, aren't John? They're all so good. Oh, I love them all so much. My thingy's far away. That's pretty better. So we went to the pub, myself and B. I think what is it called? The Weaver? The Weavers? Is that right?
The Weavers.
The Weavers. Yeah. To see if we could perhaps try and track down this vagabond of a woman, this Lucy Jenkins. So first of all, we arrived, got some drinks, went up to the pub. Do we know the name of the pub, the barman? I can't remember the name. I don't know if we got a name.
Yes, Robert.
Robert, that sounds likely. I went to have a chat with Robert. I first asked if that strange person who'd been following us the other night had been spotted in again. The person who apparently wasn't a regular in town, but no sign of them. Then we just had a bit of a casual chat about the well to see if there was any, and I think he said he knew of the well, but we didn't really get more information than that from him. So kind of left it there. And then, asked about Lucy Jenkins, and he just kind of gestured behind us. Magnus was the one who was voted to head over, so I went over to have a quick chat with her, and she basically knew my name, which was caught me a little off guard, and that's where we ended the session.
Yep. She says, "How can I help you?"
Did she refer to me as Mr. Huxley, Magnus. How did she say my name, by the way? I can't remember.
Mr. Huxley.
Mr. Huxley. Okay, and then I will say, "Oh, I'm going to assume Miss Jenkins. Glad to meet you."
And are you?
I thought you might be able to help us find out what's going on around here.
I help many people with many things, Mr. Huxley.
Oh, I'm glad to hear. We've been doing a bit of investigating, see if we can help out some folks who have been missing. You probably heard that the poor, what's the name of the guy we're trying to?
Dan.
That poor old chap Dan's been missing for a few days, so seeing if we can find out what happened to him. Obviously, you'd want to do the best you could to help us in these endeavours, wouldn't you?
Of course, yes. Dan was a good customer of mine after the pub closed of an evening.
Can imagine. Well, a couple of things you might be able to help with. But first of all, do you know of a lass called Gladys Pugh?
Pew. She looks around kind of with a thinking face and starts kind of Pew.
I'm entirely getting the impression she wants me to offer her something here, am I? I've kind of put my hands on my hips and go, we might have some information that you'd like to, but you're going to have to offer us something first.
Is this about my medallion? This information?
Do I have any idea what she's talking about, Jonny? I don't think we've heard anything about medallion. Oh, that puts me in an interesting spot. How old is she? How old does she look?
Mid-40s?
Oh. I'm going to say yeah. But, I mean, it might be that she can try and read that I'm bluffing, because I think Hux pauses for a second.
Okay, yeah. Tell you what. I am going to make a roll for her on observation.
Go for it.
All right. I'll bite. This Pew woman, she's not from here. And I think she's well, she doesn't stay here either. I'm not sure exactly where she does stay, but often when that fancy Lady Spence that you're staying with appears in town, she's not far behind. But I don't think they're working together.
Well, oddly enough, no one else seems to even know her. She try not to be seen or something, or just kind of goes under the radar.
I think she's very ordinary, Mr. Huxley, and very ordinary people often avoid notice. But ordinary people are my bread and butter.
Hux nods to himself and thinks, yeah, Margaret would have noticed her then. I'm going to just wait and see if she offers anything else.
I think, though I'm not sure, that wherever she's staying is at the other end of town to you. So how she knows when Spence is going to be here, that I can't tell you.
Okay. Well, gives me something to think about anyway. Very kind. Thank you.
My medallion.
Well, I'm not sure if it's concrete evidence of linking to it, but we, you know, the well up there on the moor.
Skeleton.
Yeah, down there. I reckon it's linked.
Hmm.
You know who it is then, do you? If you know it's there. I'm kind of testing her now.
I may have overheard some conversations on a Thursday evening. It's Wednesday now.
Yeah, I don't know about the History Society, though, so that means nothing to me. Or the constable, so...
Would you not have overheard the guy saying it to be? Because it was the barman. It wasn't at the church.
Oh, sorry, was it?
See,
My bad. I would have
yeah.
heard the History Society then. Okay, so I have made that connection. I thought it was the church.
That's
Okay.
my bad.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got that modelled in my recap.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, in that case, it makes more sense that I would have potentially made the connection between the skeleton and the medallion then. So, I think Hux goes, well, make of it what you will. There might be a connection there. That was all we thought.
Yeah, unless that skeleton belongs to somebody else who's been tricked, then I'm not sure how it's linked. But anyway, you weren't to know. You weren't to know. I won't hold it against you. But maybe next time you give me your information first and I withhold mine until I find out what yours is.
Tell you what,
Seems fair.
It does seem fair. I'll tell you what, I'll make you a promise, though. If I find out anything about this medallion of yours, I will come tell you.
All right.
Then we're even.
Yeah. Then we'll be even. But until then, nice to meet you, Mr. Huxley.
I think I'm just going to pause for a split second and just go, do you know everyone's name who's here?
Woman doesn't know what she doesn't know, Mr. Huxley.
I'll just nod and walk off. I think as I'm walking back up to UB, I'm just like...
Well,
we got a bit more about this Pew woman from her. Somewhere around far side of town. Very ordinary. Sort of goes under the radar. Might be why no one else has noticed her. I think she was telling the truth about it anyway. And she seems to somehow know when Lady Spence is around town. Even though she's on the other side. Just appears, follows her. Something odd. Maybe someone else is telling her she's here or something.
Or maybe she's just following the same leads by coincidence.
Maybe.
What's
Anyway.
Jenkins' definition of ordinary, anyway?
Someone who no one else notices. Seems like she exists, though. I don't think this lass would have made it up.
Right, and what does she want in exchange?
Well, let's just say if we hear anything about a medallion, let me know.
All right.
Hux goes and has a long drink. And tries not to look over his shoulder at any point. Whether he succeeds or not, I'm not sure.
She is reasonably quickly engaged with somebody else anyway, so the little book comes out again when the other person sits down at the table. I would say that the other group probably, if you're, were you planning on meeting back at the pub? Yeah, so the other group probably arrived back reasonably quickly after that conversation.
Well, I guess, yes, go and order some... it's lunchtime, isn't it? I think you said last time. So maybe order a bite to eat and a drink to go with it. And then sit down and meet the others. I'd probably say we didn't find much in the church. Nice place, but no great amount of information, I'm afraid.
This Gladys Pugh does seem to exist. As disreputable, I'm not saying this too loud, as disreputable as this Jenkins lass might be, didn't have any reason to make her up, I don't think. Not then. She's seen her around town doing the same sort of thing. Apparently she lives on the far side, although doesn't know exactly where.
She's not from the town. She wasn't on the records. We didn't find anything about her, and the vicar didn't know anything about her.
Apparently she's just the sort who goes unnoticed. Bit odd, but you know. And she somehow knows that Lady Spence is walking around town when she is, and just arrives to follow her. Well, that was a bit odd. Like someone's told her, or as B said here, they're following the same thing. I don't know.
That seems strange.
It feels odd that if somebody goes so under the radar, why she noticed her? If the vicar and the barman don't know, thought that would cover pretty much all bases. What's so special about this Lucy and your friend, Hux?
She seems to know everyone. Miss Jenkins. Makes her professional, I suppose.
Yes.
Is odd, though, I agree.
Some people do make it their business, I guess.
If she lives in the town, though, she must do something. She must do something for a living. You can't just go around being unnoticed all the time. How does one live their life?
Is she living in the town, or is she just staying here?
Don't know if she's been here that long. Doesn't sound like she's boarding somewhere, though, does it? I mean, Jonny, I got the impression it was like a house on the far end of town, or I guess I don't know yet. I have to go have a look.
Yeah, you're not sure.
Somewhere on the far end, yeah. Don't know them.
I mean, there weren't really any places to stay other than really like the inn, though. It's not like there's because it's quite a small town, right? Like,
yeah.
So I guess it's possible she's staying in a home somewhere, but it's probably not like another inn or something where there'd be like a book a room for a short kind of thing. It'd be more of a one-to-one sort of, presumably. And yeah, like there's no other kind of inn types place, right?
Not that you've seen, not that you're aware of.
Well, if we do want to draw her out, we have a way of doing it.
True. I'm just wondering, it can't be that this Lady Spence goes to the same place and does the same thing every time, so there can't be that many people who know for certain every time she's in town. Only a couple of people that close to her.
Especially if she's coming from the other side of town. It's hard to follow somebody from the opposite direction, if you catch my meaning.
I hate to say it, but the first person that comes to mind for me is James. He's the only one who knows where she is all the time.
Well, servants gossip is probably not the only one.
Don't know if we should press him anymore about that, though.
I think probably. I don't think putting any pressure on James without any sort of proof would get us anywhere. I think we either wander over to the other side of town to see if we find her about a business, or when we go out, did we say tonight with Lady Spence to look at the lights? She'll probably turn up then, I suppose.
Oh, and Jenkins knew about the skeleton in the well too. Not that she offered anything for free about that, but apparently this historical society that meets on, was it tomorrow?
Thursday, tomorrow evening.
Yeah, apparently they'll know more about it. So something old.
That's quite unusual. The vicar told us that we should report it to the constable, and they'll be meeting tomorrow as well. But if some historical society already knows about this, then why doesn't the constable?
Maybe it's very old. Well, didn't look that old though. I don't know.
It is a bit strange if they know the remains are there, that they've left them untouched.
Yeah. Usually that would only be what? What's that newfangled word? Archaeology? Yeah, that.
Maybe they think that it's better to leave it in its resting place.
I'm not sure how restful a well is. These things should be put properly to rest.
Hole in the ground's a hole in the ground.
It's not.
So what are we going to do now? Be curious if we could find this Gladys Pugh, but just wander around the far side of town. I'm not sure we have much hope of that.
Or do you think we should confront her or try to see what she's up to?
You're thinking we have Lady Spence wander around a bit?
Potentially. I don't know how observant this Gladys Pugh might be, but perhaps we might learn a thing or two.
We also need to find Dan or understand what's happened to the poor man.
Yes.
This is all growing arms and legs. We're not really any further along with Dan's investigations.
It'll all be connected, I bet.
Not sure whether I hope it is or not.
It might be worth investigating the area of Dan's home, see whether there are any signs or clues we can pick up there.
We haven't
Maybe
visited
talk to
his
his
wife
wife.
yet.
Mm.
Yeah, if the horse normally takes him straight home, doesn't it? We're supposed to speak to her.
Oh, yeah, and to add to it, if we find out anything about Medallion, Hux owes information.
Yeah, if you hear about it, let me know. Don't
What's the
know.
medallion got to do with?
No idea. Just if you hear anything, let me know. Just leave it at that.
Any other details or?
I don't have any.
Okay.
It's the medallion connected to Gladys?
I don't know. It's connected to her. I just gesture backwards, trying not to be too obvious.
So now we're looking for Dan. We've got to identify Gladys and find some
Look,
tradeswoman's
I just
medallion.
said if you happen to hear about it, we're not going looking for it. If we're wandering
Right.
about and someone says, "Oh, did you hear about this medallion?" Yeah, then tell me. Don't go wandering off. It's fine.
Did we look into this whole thing about the black dog? Any of those reports of seeing it? Have we pulled on any of those threads?
Not outside. Lady Spence has talked about them, but we haven't asked around here.
Is it?
It's
Can I
all
go
a
and do
year.
that? No, but can I go and do that at the bar and ask? Has anyone seen any? We've heard about these rumors of a black dog from some of the people in town. Have you heard? Has anyone heard anything about this sighting of this strange, grim figure?
Robert, the barman, says, "Are you sort of announcing it in the bar? Are you kind of asking the room?"
Well, no, I'm asking him. I'm asking the bartender.
Oh, okay.
If he's heard any rumors.
He goes, matter of fact, one of the happenings that was to do with the one of the happenings that was to do with the black dog.
Mm-hmm.
There was a cart bringing some kegs of ale
Right.
here, and it almost went off the road.
Almost went off the road.
Yeah, bad weather.
But didn't go off the road.
Well, so the driver, fog, you see, he couldn't see the road properly.
Foggy road.
And but as the horses were about to head into the ditch off the side of the road, a black dog appeared in front of the horses. So they veered back onto the road.
And this is what the driver?
The driver, yes.
Right. Wow. And does the driver drink here? Is he a local?
No, he's from the city, so he brings supplies this way. You see, he'll be back.
Quite stale.
Probably the weekend.
Another thing I've seen. I'm somewhat of an amateur historian myself, and I heard that there's this this group that meets here tomorrow night. I'm quite partial to a pint and talking about all kinds of aspects of history, roads, rail, where infrastructure, good historical topics, and lots of.
I'm sure you'd be more than welcome if you wanted to attend.
Is it an invite-only event or?
No. I mean, it is the local society, and it's not often that somebody from outside joins in, but it has been known to happen, and they welcome another perspective.
Well, that's fantastic. And lovely beer. I'll just turn off and disappear in the most socially awkward way possible.
Yeah, I think as you kind of turn away, he's in the middle of saying something else, probably.
Well, you'll never guess what happened. On the moors, there was fog. And then during this fog, because or not because of the fog, the driver got a bit lost. And then when the driver was a bit, not really sure which way he was going, about to go off the road, he didn't go off the road because he says he saw a dog. Or the horses saw a dog. That's as much as I can get out of that story. That will be something to write up in the book.
Mags is looking at you like the whole time you're telling that story.
Was this also a year ago with the others?
Yeah, no, I think this is the same wagon story that we've been told before.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite match up to our Redcap experience, really, does it?
Well, as I said, with any luck, this is just some, I don't think any of the events that we've seen here are anything out of the ordinary. But Dan has gone missing, which is a shame, and we should find out what happened to him.
So,
well, I suppose. Sorry, Hugs.
I was just going to say maybe we go to his house then. I mean, that was a good idea. I can't believe we haven't done it now you mention it. At least we should pretend we're looking for him, eh?
Well, I think we were going to, but then all sorts of other things kept happening. We got followed back and all sorts of things. So, so I suppose we all. It was late last night, and
it was,
didn't want to disturb her. I think it's a very reasonable time of day.
It's a busy little place, this, isn't it?
For how small it is, yes. Yes.
Do we know where the house is, Johnny? Have we been told where? Or should we ask here?
I think we've been pointed out that it was a couple of roads over before because it was so close. But I'm not sure if we had an exact house pointed out.
I'm happy that Lady Spence would have given you that. I think if because you've spoken to her about it.
Okay, I think then Hux, in his usual presumptive manner, will start to get up to go. Cool. I will lead the way. I'll lead the way to where we think our house is then.
Cool. Can you all make vigilance rolls, please?
Oh, we didn't say what happened with XP, did we?
Yep. Everybody got 2 XP at the end of last session.
And I used it to buy a point in vigilance, which is why I suddenly remembered again.
I got 1.
I also got 1.
I moved all my d6s for alien, and I can't remember where I put them.
That's not a result, John. I'm confused.
Oh, there it is.
4 6s.
Constance has never been so vigilant in her life.
How many 6s?
4.
4.
5.
Wow.
What?
The
Out of
last
5?
one
Oh,
was a
damn.
5. I got 1 5 and 4 6s. I'm going to roll 1s for the
Wow.
rest
You
of
will
everything else. for the
never
next
roll
2
that well
sessions
again
now.
in your life.
Yeah.
Well, I wasted these 3 6s I rolled. Well,
Damn.
I rolled 2 6s with my found dice.
Everyone's this
also
beer
just
is really
so
good for your
vigilant.
eyes. I think.
Okay.
There's caffeine in this beer.
Gale and Hooks, you rolled 1, right? Okay. B, you think you see like a flutter of shadow in an alleyway on the other side of the road as you exit the pub, like a bit of movement. Steve, Henry definitely sees some movement in an alleyway across the way, and it was a person ducking back into shadow.
Okay.
Inga, Constance sees a person ducking back into shadow in an alleyway across the road, and you think from the very vague description that you were able to get from Mosling that it may have been the person who was following you the other night.
We probably don't have a good enough sense of the town and the overall whereabouts to know where those alleys would lead, or if it was a dead end or anything like that, would we?
That is kind of an alleyway that runs between 2 sets of houses. So down the back of rows of houses. So it would probably go some way before then maybe having to sideways off between the next block. So if you were thinking of chasing, you think you'd probably be able to get a decent you could get into the alleyway, you think, before they managed to peel off anywhere. And if you wanted to try and cut off, then there are also a few options if you wanted to try and get ahead of them. But you'd need to be quick
I think,
if you want.
Yeah, I think I'll just quickly say that was him, the man who was following us. Did you see him? And just point to the alleyway, hoping that someone else also saw.
After him, Bonneville.
I'm just going to start running in that direction.
Let's start running.
With that 1 success, was that enough to be we have an idea where that point would lead us to, Jonny, presumably? Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just take off running as fast as can in that direction. I think we all are, though, basically, aren't we?
Adam, stay with the sister.
Well, I'm going to stick with Adam.
Yeah, she wasn't going to be running.
The 3 of us will go running.
Sister Constance was looking at him and just sitting there going, "Go get him!"
Are you
Probably
all
the
going?
worst 2 vaguely parental figures to be left with your child.
Oh, I love it.
I think I might try cutting, going around the other way and trying to cut them off, if that's possible. Give it a go at least.
Hux is going straight in.
Okay. Can you? What's a roll? Is there agility?
There is
Yeah,
agility.
agility.
Yeah. That's exactly what you should roll, please.
Well, not my best. I'll be rolling 5 dice, 3 from physique and 2 from the agility skill.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't make that.
You can push if you take a condition.
I think this is a moment when Hux would really want to push too, because I really want to get this person. It really annoying that I didn't find them the other day. So the condition doesn't count for this roll, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, it's exhausted makes perfect sense. Worth it. 2 6s. Yeah.
I got 1 6.
I got 1 6.
Okay, so B and Hooks are going straight into the alleyway. Is that right? Okay, so as you kind of reach the mouth of the alleyway, and your eyes kind of get into the slight darkness there, and you can see further ahead then because you're in matching light to the alleyway that you're in. Hooks pulls ahead of B, and B, you see that the man that you are chasing is going faster than you, but you think that Hooks is gaining on him slightly. And Steve, Henry runs into sort of the street that goes along the side rather than into the alleyway, and sort of has to. This street is weirdly busy, like compared to what you were expecting it to be. So you almost have to sort of dodge around a couple of people as you're trying to keep pace. And you Hooks, you see the man turn around and see that you are after him, at which point he reaches one of the sort of crossroady bits where there is this alleyway going straight on and some more going out to the street, and he cuts a left, which you know is the side that Henry is running down.
Beautiful. As soon as I see him turn to look, I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, "Stop!" just to try and intimidate him into like not trying to run away. Although it might have the opposite effect. Who knows?
He cuts a left out to the sort of side alleyway, and as he's about to fly out into the sunlight of the street, Henry's mildly imposing figure sort of stands blocking this, because these alleyways are sort of just wider than a person, so having you stand there essentially blocks off his exit, and then he kind of screeches to a halt, turns and sees Hooks, and then B appearing behind Hooks, and kind of deflates a little standing in this alleyway.
Hux, upon stopping, is about to say something and then goes, and sort of collapses, having definitely run a bit too fast for a moment.
B slings her rifle off her shoulder, but doesn't immediately bring it to bear, because that's an escalation.
Wow. Okay.
But does say, "Why are you following us?"
What do you mean?
I mean, why are you following us?
I wasn't following you. I was just out for a walk, and I turned around and there was people chasing me. So
You were following us last night.
no, I wasn't.
Come on. We're not daft.
Well,
Let's start with your name, shall we? Come on, who are you?
Surely you don't need to think about it.
What about if you tell me who you are first?
Do you not see her damn rifle, son? I say as I'm standing up a bit. I'm getting my crowbar out and I'm marching up to him as fast as I can. This guy's pissing me off. I'd like
He's
actively like lift it over my head.
he's backing up towards Henry now. However, you would note that there was a point there where his demeanor sort of changed, and you think that the sort of scared runaway was a little bit put on to try and deflect from something.
Yeah, okay. I will not swing it, but I won't move an inch from about to swing it and just wait for him to say something helpful.
Look, I became aware of you a little while ago. And,
How?
I know some people, and I just wanted to know more, really. You have been linked to at least one murder.
So you followed us here?
That's what a good journalist does, isn't it?
I'll just go, ugh, and collapse on the ground again.
Ah,
I think
I
at this
feel like
point,
we
would
should-
it be possible for Mosling and Sister Constance to have like slowly walked around the block with Adam?
Yeah.
I'd be like, bravo, bravo. God.
Although I think if we see B with rifle out, I might stop at the end of the alley rather than going all the way down. But I mean, you're obviously welcome to, but I might stop with Adam at the end of the. Just tucked around the corner for that.
So, you followed us here.
Yeah.
All right. That's annoying.
That's what a good journalist does, isn't it?
Is it?
There's a story to follow.
What story do you think there is?
I'm not sure, but your names are linked to some mysterious deaths, and I can't see that you've spoken to the police, but also nobody seems to be after you, and that seems a bit odd to me.
Mysterious deaths? I
Yeah,
don't think we're linked to any mysterious deaths.
up north.
I honestly think Hux is totally uninterested in this conversation now and just walks off.
Look, I don't know what you think you're following, but all of that was discussed with the police authorities, right? And they don't think there's anything up. So what
I
are you
can't-
doing here?
Yeah.
Something just don't smell right to me, so I'll stay out of your way.
Can I try and use my own journalistic, skills to try and just kind of rebuff, try and just all of these things that you invest. There's perfectly good explanations and start to go through and go, and of course, blah 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 blah, and try and create a cloud of nonsense that will kind of make everything seem completely reasonable. Or explainable or misunderstandable. I can understand how you've come to these conclusions, but really, there's nothing to worry about with any of this. Get out the copies of my book and start going. This is what we've been researching. Obfuscate, avoid, deflect.
So, inspiration or manipulation, whichever you think is the most.
Well, I'm going to use my journalist talents to use inspiration instead of manipulation, and make that roll. And I think I don't have any bonuses to that. But I only get one success, but I do get a success.
Tell you what. I'll make you a deal.
Deal? I don't know what we could possibly have to negotiate about, but why don't you tell us your terms and we'll see if there's anything in that doesn't make any sense to us.
I'll head back to London. But when you get done with whatever you're doing here, you'll come and have a chat with me. And he hands you a card.
I go, there could be nothing better than that. I hand him my card, and I'll make sure that you get an advanced copy of this new chapter I've been working on. You'll find that there's a perfectly good explanation in that the work I have done on the roads of this area, and on and on and on and on until he eventually just leaves or whatever, or shuts me up. Someone's got to shut me up.
Yeah,
Everyone
all
else
right.
just quietly sort of disperses.
I was just a bit before the mainstream, you know.
But once he's ready to go, I do go. But now that you're here, I've heard some stunning tales from this part of town. You know, there's all this talk about a man who's disappeared and all kinds of things like that. You've been asking questions around. You haven't come across any interesting tidbits that might go into the old tapping the manuscript.
No, it seems like he's just drunk man's wandered off, got lost.
Much agreeing with my ideas on the case.
I can see
Anyway.
your investigation is deeply thorough.
Look, I will be seeing you all again. And he heads out of the end of the alleyway if Henry steps aside.
Give it a couple of seconds. Just memorizing his face, you know. And sort of, you know, looking at, giving him the once over and just sort of seeing whether there's anything, you know, any interesting features.
What a pleasant young man. Well done, Bonneville. Well done, Hux, for catching him. That was really something.
I will remain quiet.
Has he come back? Oh, he's gone off the way that Bonneville went, so probably not the way that we came through. So if I put my head around and I see he's gone, I might bring Adam up to rejoin the group.
Yeah.
How many names did Moslin give away there, just out of interest?
Names?
Yes.
Did he give away
You
names?
were referring to us
Your
by
own,
name.
right?
Just now?
Yeah.
After he left, or...
Well, did he leave before you said Bonneville or Hux? Or
I think he did. I think he left.
Okay.
I think he was walking.
That's
Oh,
all
no, I
right.
don't know. I assumed he had.
I mean, I'm guessing he already had our names because he did say our names kept coming up.
Okay.
What was all that about then? He's gone.
Apparently we're people of interest, at least to him. Although I don't know where he's getting his information from because it doesn't seem accurate.
Quite right.
He's not connected to the Dan and Gladys and all of that.
No.
He's just interested in us.
Hux wanders back over, clutching at his ribs, and just goes, "All that bloody effort wasted for what? Oh, nothing to do with any of this."
Well, he says he's going to leave us alone, so that's something.
Are we safe?
Well, from him, I think so. It would be worth mentioning to Rupert and what's her name?
Eleanor,
Eleanor?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be worth mentioning to Rupert and Eleanor that we've already developed a following. I'm not particularly keen on that notion, but perhaps they will have.
You should have just bloody shot him, B.
I think that might draw more attention somehow.
Yeah, it was a joke. You shouldn't have just bloody shot him, should you?
I don't
I
know.
have
We're
to
giving him
say-
something to write about. I think, if they had something to write about, then maybe he wouldn't be following us around. Maybe if we shoot him a bit, then he's got a few bits of things to work into his shoulders. I mean, all that really matters is that the business of the society is kept under covers. He can believe that we are the next crime writers or investigators or PIs following around a litany of corpses, as long as he doesn't get some fanciful idea about what's actually going on.
Yeah, you're probably right. Feed him some fun stories. That's all that'll matter, I suppose.
Yeah, we
I
could.
think
You go on.
we're a bit of an odd group for any of those things, aren't we? I'm
Are
not sure
we?
I'd believe it.
Well, for crime writers, we've got a writer, we've got a criminal, we've got a detective, we've got a person of the church, and we've got a gun. And we've got Adam.
Yes, what am I doing here?
She won't mention that she's also a criminal.
Repent. Oi.
I whispered that to Bonneville only,
First of all, they've never nicked me for it.
making sure B could hear.
Amazing.
Second of all, they're nonsense rules made up to keep property away from the people who need it.
Anyway, perhaps
Quite right, Mr. B.
perhaps we are getting distracted. Shall we? Refocus our efforts?
Yeah, what are we up to? Finding that house.
Yes, I believe so.
Oh gosh, my ribs aren't going to feel the same for days. I'm never going to forgive that lad.
Do you want to go back to the pub, Hugs?
No, let's go. Come on.
Constance will follow from a slightly suspicious distance from B and Hux.
You hadn't had it confirmed that we were criminals until now. I love it.
I think maybe when we first met, B did say that she'd been brought up in front of the courts for poaching.
I think you did, yeah. That was what I was remembering.
I'm not sure it was confirmed that you were guilty though, and that's
I was not
different.
guilty. That's my point. I was never convicted.
You can't own animals.
I've been in jail twice and I was totally innocent. What can I say?
And this conversation continues as we scroll.
This is why you need a higher power to determine the real good and bad and right and wrong above the table. That was.
Okay. You arrive at the door of a small terraced house, which you believe to be the Penhaligon home.
Might it be sensible for one of us to just to look around outside, check the area? I don't think. Well, I'm sure we're not all needed inside. It might be a bit overpowering.
Yeah, I'll go volunteer to do that. At least me. Let's go join me and have a look around.
I'll go with you.
Oh, as a private investigator, are you not a good person to be speaking with the wife, to be investigating the missing person, Mr. Bonneville? I think you'd be quite a nice presence for her.
Potentially, but I worry that, well, it's a bit on the nose, don't you think? Perhaps your calming influence might be more of use at the moment.
She might find God to be the succor that she needs in this trying time.
Yes, it sounded like poor Dan hadn't been attending church terribly regularly, but I didn't think to ask about Mrs. Penhaligon. I should have done, really. Well, perhaps she will. Mr. Mosling, you can often put people at ease if you would like to join me.
That's the kindest thing anyone has ever said to me. I'm already knocking on the door as you're talking. I have no. Mosling doesn't care about your concerns. He's like, as you're talking, he's just reaching up to the door and he just begins knocking as you're talking.
You know, it's funny how like Gale and Hux are like total opposites in some ways, but also totally akin to each other in other ways.
It's a class difference rather than an attitude difference.
After a moment, the door is answered by a slim woman with hair tied back in a bun and a small wooden crucifix around her neck, which she's holding as she opens the door, and says, "Good afternoon."
I'm very sorry to bother you. Was Dan's your husband, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yes, sorry. I'm Mr. Mosling Forsmark. This is Sister Constance. We've just arrived in town and heard the terrible news, and we just thought we'd put some time into looking around and investigating to see if we could find out where Dan is now and what's happened to him. We're not necessarily professionals, but we know a private investigator who will be able to be of some help, and we're just looking to see if there's anything that you could tell us that would help with us looking around. We are very sorry to bother you at this time. I know it must be very stressful not knowing where Dan is.
Oh, well, I have faith that he'll be home. I'm sure the Lord is looking over him. So, but yes, also the Lord sends his agents to assist. So,
well, if there's an agent better than Sister Constance, I don't want to meet her.
Oh, sister.
It's lovely to meet you, Mrs. Penhaligon. I'm so sorry about all this trouble, but I'm glad to see you have faith. That's the best thing. I did pray for Dan just this morning.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's very cold. Please come inside.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, as Mr. Mosling here was saying, anything you could tell us about Dan would be really helpful. We understand he went missing a few nights ago. He just didn't come home after the pub. Anything you tell us about his usual habits, anything that was different that night.
Yes. I'm afraid I have told my Dan many times that for him the devil hides in the bottom of a bottle, but well, I suppose only a man can only fight his own demons. Anyway, enough about that. So the day, no, we'd had dinner together as always, and as was often the case, not long before I went to bed, Dan went to go to the Weavers, and I'm afraid that's all I have. The day, as far as I remember it, was wonderfully normal. As I'm sure any reasonably happily married person will tell you, there's a reassurance in normality. One day being the same as the next is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yes, of course. Did he normally just come home straight away after the barman Robert did say that he'd normally just get on his horse, he'd walk him right home.
Yep. Stalin, he knew the way. So I'm not sure what's happened. But as I say,
disagreements?
No
disagreements
only,
with anybody. Nothing.
I think everybody loves Dan. Some people are, well, the one fortunate thing I suppose is that he's as much as one can be. He's a good drunk, friendly and happy. Just an exaggeration of his usual self, I suppose. So no, I don't think there's anybody wishes ill of him.
Did Dan have any close friends at the pub? Any particular confidants?
Robert, I suppose, the barman. He was often, sitting right at the bar. He would speak to anybody. I don't think there was anybody specific other than Robert that I'm aware of that he was particularly close with.
And did he, when he was not at the pub and not at home, was there anywhere he'd like to go? Anywhere that he might have decided to go off to that night rather than heading back?
When he was clear-headed, both of us would enjoy a walk up to the moor, but I mean, when he leaves the pub, he's not of a state to direct the horse himself, so I'm not sure he could have made Stallion go there or anywhere else, even if he'd particularly wanted to.
Perhaps Stallion might remember the place and have led him there by accident. Anyway.
Stallion has also not returned, is that right?
That's right, I'm afraid, sister, yes. Perhaps
that seems quite unusual.
Perhaps some reassurance for me of Dan's well-being. I suppose if one were to think of grim thoughts, it's much harder to mislay purposefully or otherwise a horse. You must understand that I have faith, but I'm not naive. I understand what people may think has happened, but I still think that they'll both come back.
I'm sorry, what is it that you think people think has happened?
Well, I'm sure there are people wonder if somebody has done this to Dan, as you have asked quite rightly in your investigation, whether anybody wished him ill. People around here know that he comes home every night in a bit of a state, and I don't think that people would think that he has just wandered off, because they know that that's what happens. So they presumably think that somebody else is involved in some way. But as I say, it's the fact that Stallion is with him and also hasn't shown up is reassuring to me, comforting.
We did actually hear first about this from, you may have heard, we're staying with Lady Spence, and it was someone on her staff, James, who told us about all of the goings on, originally through his brother, actually. So, I mean, obviously, in a small town like this, word does travel, I suppose, but there's a care for Dan. It does seem like he was well liked, and even the lady, and well, again, it seems to be quite well known that she has interest in all sorts of strange things. Is that something that
Yes.
Dan was interested in? Is there any particular reason why Lady Spence might have had an interest in Dan because of this, in the disappearance? No reason to think they'd be connected.
No, I know that she has some very questionable ideas. But no, my Dan was certainly... I mean, many Sundays he couldn't drag himself out of bed to come to church with me, but he certainly wasn't into anything strange like that. She's sort of hands on the crucifix as she's talking about that.
I would look to Mr. Mosling, questioning if there's anything you want to.
I'm just trying to think about whether it's worth asking her about any of our other leads, but I'm not sure.
I guess the only thing I might ask then is what's the name? Yes, so Lady Spence did well, rather James did suggest that we ask a woman called Lucy Jenkins about things that have been going on around the town. I've not spoken to her yet, but well, she doesn't sound like the most reputable person in the town, but is there any possibility that she would have any knowledge about Dan's whereabouts or anything like that?
I'm not particularly a fan of that woman. We're a community, you see, sister. And we take care of each other to whatever degree. And well, my Dan was obviously a flawed man, and to some degree, I suppose you could say that was enabled by Robert as the proprietor of the pub, but there were some nights where I understand that he would stop Dan before the pub closed. You see, he would figure that Dan had drunk enough, even for Dan, and send him on his way. From my understanding, that Jenkins woman would be more than happy for Dan to part with his money for some extra drinks, which he would drink outside the pub in the street often. Well, not often, but more than once. And from my understanding, Dan is not the only person that she has taken advantage of.
She sounds like quite a nasty woman, especially for such a lovely town as this, as you say, very community focused. I'm so sorry.
Well, I think we'll keep you up to date if there's any developments on this, but I hope you're doing all right.
Thank you. Yes, I'm doing okay. Reverend Williams visits me every day, and we pray together, which is a comfort. And obviously, I visit the church for some peace and contemplation. But yes, thank you. Please, if there's anything else I can help with, please. And if you just want to come by, have a cup of tea, you're most welcome.
That's very kind. Thank you very much. Likewise, if there's anything that you think of later on or anything that just seems a little strange, no matter how small or insignificant you might think it is, we're staying with Lady Spence, but I'm sure we will be along to pop in and see how you're doing.
Thank you.
Let you know if we find out anything new. Thank you so much. You've been very helpful. Yes, we'll be back soon.
Bless you, Sister Constance. And you, sir.
Yeah, I guess we'll head back
First
out
step
and
out. Yeah.
yeah.
The reaction you had, you're almost behaving like Gale bursts into flames as soon as that happens or something.
Yeah, hopefully we can see the others. Nothing's horrible's happened in the meantime. I don't want to assume.
Who knows?
Yeah, so this is a terraced street, so there's not really anything to note outside. You're straight out onto the footpath from the house. So if you were sort of scouting out, seeing if there was anything to see, there is a sort of metal ring driven into the wall, which you presume was used to tie Stallion up out the front of the house. Which differentiates it from the other houses on the street. But apart from that, there's not anything around.
So there's no sort of area for the horse to stay other than being where? Well, I can see how the horse might hold a grudge.
It was definitely Stallion.
Horse probably also enjoys going to the pub.
So there may, you don't know, there may be somewhere else. But obviously, if it brings him home on a night, he can't then take it somewhere else afterwards on the night. So potentially there is somewhere else that Stallion spends a lot of its time.
Sorry, I'm now being distracted by the thoughts of horse Uber.
Horse Uber, indeed.
So I guess whilst
we'll update you guys. So, yeah, she doesn't. There wasn't a whole lot she really knew, to be honest. She seems like a very good woman. She invited us back for tea again if we wanted, but nothing unusual she could think of. She was very disapproving of that Jenkins woman. Certainly seems like somebody who's taking advantage of people, but nothing like that I think will really help with the investigations to find out what happened to Dan. He's gone missing. Stallion is also missing, and that really just confirmed things we already knew, I think.
Hux has just spent most of the time while we've been hanging around doing, just kind of waiting, complaining about his ribs, as he is wont to do.
Yeah, no, it seems like there's not very much there, but what are we expecting to see?
I'm just going to double check the rules. Would I be able to have a look? No. I was going to say, could I have a look at Hux's ribs? But like an actual first aid roll only applies if they're broken, right?
Yeah, you have to have
that's how it works.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you can look at them
for recovery, or as we like, you can go off and spend money for more instant healing. You can.
If anyone who spent any time with Hux or any other vaguely old man before has realised this is just that sort of grumblingness that is just so you kind of maybe give him sympathy. That's all it's for. It's for no other reason.
So you're on -1 to physical rolls now, right, Sam?
Yeah. Although I do have robust, which means I can ignore one physical condition per session when I roll, which is nice.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, ignore physical.
Is that?
Sorry, for all physical conditions for one roll per session.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Mosling will give you the sympathy that you want. He's very happy to, he's very happy the way that this chase happened. It was very exciting to get to watch it, and like an event, and the whole thing happened perfectly. So he's more than happy to dole out congratulations and sympathy effusively.
I don't admit it, but it is appreciated.
Forming a beautiful friendship.
My hope is that Bonneville. Well, my hope as a player is that Bonneville finds it patronising.
I mean, Hux, yeah, no, I totally doesn't appreciate all sympathy.
Right, I think that does that exhaust our planned investigations until this evening? Is there anything else that?
Other than wandering around and seeing if we run into Pew.
We could check out the other side of town. There's supposed to be that residence with the ordinary-looking lady.
Oh, we have no idea where on the other side of town, though. I like the idea. I can't remember who said it now. We suggest Lady Spence have a wander around a bit and maybe keep an eye on things, since she seems to conspicuously appear, or inconspicuously appear every time, right? Maybe we'll find out
she seems
why
to
that happened.
appear. She seems to appear when Lady Spence is looking for her mysterious incidents. The Lady Spence was open to coming out to over to the moors and having a look for the lights this evening. So there's certainly that at the very least. Although I suppose we could, maybe it would be more prudent to come just before nightfall, just in case.
Anyone reckon they can innocently persuade the good lady to wander into town first before sunset?
Absolutely.
I don't see any harm in having the town's not too large. If we want to extend our walk take a small detour before going back to the house, we could have a stroll around the other side of town.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about we split up a bit then? Maybe we could. Some of us go have a wander around the other side of town, and Mosling and I don't know, whoever else wants to go get the good lady and see if she wants to have a wander about. Maybe if we're over that side, we'll spot something going on. I don't know. You know, something going on here, isn't there?
Find out where she's staying, maybe.
Or how she's finding out this stuff.
Okay, so you're heading back to the house.
I'll stay here.
Well, some of us will. Yeah, I think. Yes, who fancies a stretch of the legs and who fancies another sandwich by James? Oh, come on, the sandwiches weren't that bad.
Now you put it like that, actually, I kind of want to go back.
You reckon you could get essentially a taxi, like a carriage, to take you back here? In which case, you could probably do the round trip in 30 minutes rather than about 2 hours, for a very small amount of money.
We can do that. Mosling can spring for that in his budget. He can expense it.
Research.
Perhaps there'll be a mysterious dog now that we're getting a carriage. Perhaps there'll be a mysterious dog on the road. Who knows?
We'll go with you.
So, are we all going up, or are we?
I'm staying in town. I'm just gonna wander around the other side and see if I see anything odd. No one else has.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in town.
Okay.
I'm staying in town as well.
B and Adam will go up to the house. So there's a carriage. I didn't want to make Adam walk all the way there and all the way back, but
Okay, I'll go back to the house then. Yeah, might as well.
Okay, you arrive back at the house. Lady Spence is walking on the landing upstairs. It's a bright day, so there's sun shining in, and there's sort of big windows on the front of the house, and she's reading a book, just sort of pacing back and forth at the top of the stairs. And you just walk in, presumably, as that's basically what she's told you to do, and that's pretty much how you've been carrying on. So she hears the door and looks down and says, "Ah, hello. Oh, just the three of you? Hello, young man."
we were.
Oh, it's the four of you. Is Gail gone as well? Sorry, yeah, four,
Yeah.
because Adam's there. Yeah.
We were wondering if you fancied a walk, ma'am.
Well, yes.
It is in
for
aid
purpose
of
or for.
Well, we have been seeing these absolutely delightful stone circles, and it would be really nice to get your opinion of them, perhaps over a pint in the village, a change of scenery. So maybe we could take the carriage out and go into town, have a drink, and get a bit of fresh air. It's very good for you, I hear. That's what they're all saying in London these days.
Yes, I'd be delighted. Yes.
there are ulterior motives as well. I hasten to add. We are hoping that your presence might precipitate this Gladys Pugh to make an appearance, and our colleagues are on the lookout.
Ah, yes, the Phantom Follower.
I'm happy to report we don't now believe she is a phantom.
Shucks.
But we did actually have some more. We stumbled across something interesting on the moors. We found a skeleton in a well, fairly close by, actually, somewhere near where we believe the lights to have appeared. So something else to talk about.
Is it possible to look at to do like an observation check to see if this is shocking news to Lady Spence, who hasn't yet been ruled off as a suspect for this potential murder?
It is not shocking news to Lady Spence. You don't need to roll.
Right.
She's not attempting to make it look like it's shocking, so you don't need to roll to see if it's...
Does everyone know about this skeleton?
Not everyone, but those who have looked into the town's history, be it from a... Many know about the skeleton. The belief about why exactly it is there and who it is may differ from person to person.
Well, that definitely sounds like a story to tell on the carriage ride over.
Yes, jolly good. She's already wearing boots, and she kind of semi-runs down the stairs, and as she gets to the door, she picks up a sort of parasol-y umbrella from out of a pot, which has 2 or 3 of them by the door. Lead on.
No, ladies first.
Miss Hale.
I'll...
Hail. The notepad comes out, scribbling down.
I was hoping to keep that up for a while. Yeah, I'll lead everyone out to the carriage. Otherwise, we're just going to stay here being polite to each other.
Aggressively polite.
She does follow you, though. Kind of pulling... If you look back and catch a little glimpse, she's sort of pulling a funny face at Adam, which is not befitting of her lady station. I don't she gets up onto the carriage and you head back towards town. Are you wanting to talk with her on the carriage?
I'd love to hear this story of the corpse in the well and the circles, anything she has to tell, and I will encourage her to talk at length.
Which one are you asking about first?
The corpse. I think we're right, guys.
Yeah, probably. We can save some of this discussion for the pub, of course. But
yeah, I think I'd rather have the
corpse.
I'd rather have the skeleton conversation privately.
Sure.
While we're doing this conversation, Sam and Inga, can you roll vigilance rolls, please?
Sure.
Don't let me know what you've got yet, but just have it prepped. So it is believed that there was a young woman in the town many years ago, and details vary. Some believe that she was the secret lover of a wealthy man, and that either his wife found out or he became concerned that people would find out, and so she was disposed of. Others believe that she exhibited some powers and a gathering of sorts, used the well, you know how they used to test for witches, don't you? Needless to say, she didn't float. I'm sure there will be yet more accounts if you speak to others in the town, but I'm torn because obviously I enjoy tales of the strange, but I am also aware of how women can be treated by powerful men. So I think I'm probably 50-50 on these, as to which I believe to be true.
Do you happen to know why the bones haven't been removed from the well? It seems strange to leave them there.
As far as I'm aware, they were not confirmed to be present until 15 years ago. And I imagine the stability of the well is called into question anytime the idea of them being gathered is raised.
And this story, when does the story date from? How long ago?
It depends which story you believe to be correct. Between 100 and 200 years. I'm not sure whether these stories surfaced as an explanation once the bones were discovered, or whether they existed prior. I've yet to find anything written and dated, Mr. Bonneville, I'm afraid.
Interesting.
And you basically come into the edge of town now. Sam and Inga, what did you roll?
3 successes.
No successes. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Where are you kind of milling around? Presumably out that other end of town, like towards that end, are you? Or
Yeah, I guess it depends what's there. Like, is it all just houses? Is there anywhere like temporary stay? There's no other pubs around this end, are there? But
I think Constance would especially be looking for anywhere that look like, if it's lots of terraced houses, like how can you live in a terraced house even for a short period of time without someone seeing you? Like, is there anywhere that's a bit further away from any of the other houses for whatever reason, like a hut in a field, or do you know what I mean? Like something like that.
So are you almost venturing out of the end of town a little and seeing if there's...
I think we'll go to the edge.
Yeah?
Yeah. Would certainly be looking out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you find at this end is this is sort of the end of it is like terraces to the end of the street. What you notice is and what could be mistaken for another row of terraces almost backing onto one of them is what you think may be an old mill, which kind of stands alone behind a row of terraces.
You say old mill, presumably not obviously in operation in any way.
You don't hear any, there's no billowing or anything, so you believe it's out of use.
Yeah, we'll point it out to Hux, saying I just think if there's somebody, it doesn't seem to fit. If this is a real person, if they're in one of the normal houses, just in amongst everybody else, for not to have been seen. It's abandoned-looking buildings just off to the side, though. I wonder if it's worth exploring.
Yeah, that does look like the sort of place. Jonny, does it look like a decent place to squat to me? Squatter's instinct. No one's going to come looking for you.
Yeah, you don't think that anybody's going to be... unless somebody takes it over.
Yeah.
You don't think anybody's going in there.
Okay, yeah, I'll nod at Constance going. Yeah, seems a fair bet. Let's go have a look. Quietly, though, if we can. Go have a closer look, but not try and, like, draw awareness that if someone was watching us, they were like, oh my God, someone's coming to find me, sort of thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think I'll probably follow a bit behind Hux now. This seems like more his sort of thing. The sneaking and abandoned buildings and such.
Are you going to try and do a full circumnavigation of the building? To see all the sides of it, yeah?
Maybe. I might suggest Constance stays at the edge of town and keeps an eye on, see if anyone's about watching us or something like that while I do it. So if someone was watching me, they might not, they might be seen by Constance, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll do as I'm told.
Okay. So you head around and the sort of ground floor windows are boarded up. And the ground that you're walking on is kind of overgrown with weeds and stuff now around here.
Mm-hmm.
And you head around sort of the back side of the building. And there is a ground floor door that is boarded up. And there are a set of steps that go up the side of the building that lead to an upper floor door, which also looks to be boarded up. And that's it for around here. There's no windows on this side, but also there is like a tree cover at the back. So it's not like much light would come in this side anyway.
I guess at a glance, I'm not like serious, but at a glance, I'm just looking for the sort of places that people would be accessing it, because presumably someone's got to be going in and out fairly regularly. So I'm trying to find where that might be, but that might not be obvious. So
yeah, if you're not getting up really close, you certainly don't see anything. Like everything looks boarded up from what you can tell,
including like windows. If someone were in there, could they easily be looking at me, or is that?
So the windows are not sort of like board, but they are sort of like
so someone could be watching.
They've used like 4 bits of wood to cover a window that would use 7 to cover it fully. They've sort of slanted them, so somebody could be looking out theoretically.
Okay. In that case, I think I'll get back to Constance and say nothing obvious. It's boarded up all around. Can't find an easy way in. We could go look closer, but if someone's watching, they'll know we're coming to find them.
Equally, I suppose we'll see if anybody comes out.
Yeah. Shall we just go up? Ask him for a word, not trying to hide. It's an option.
It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like dangerous, just some woman following the lady around.
Yeah, you're right. We've got no reason to think of anything nefarious from her as far as we're aware so far, I suppose. Let's go for it then. Just ask. Yep. Wander up. Not try and hide, yeah.
Okay. So there are the 2 doors on the back. Nothing sort of stirs as it's not like you wander up and somebody knocks on the window and tells you to get lost. So are you heading around the back to the doors?
I think first I'll just call out and see if anyone's in there. Just like, hello, anyone in there? Just want a chat if you are.
Presume you leave it sort of 20 seconds. Nobody responds.
Okay. I think I will go and test some of those doors I looked at. But I think once again I'll say, Constance, just stay back a bit in case someone tries to leg it while I'm having a look at these doors. Don't chase them. Don't worry. I'm not saying chase them, just so we see.
Yes, all right. Look out for you spotted footprints before with the red cap fellow. Maybe we'll spot something else.
Yeah, good plan. Good plan. I love the image of I saw Constance's face when I said keep a lookout for someone running, and Constance's face of just like I'm not chasing them. It was just immediately in my head, so clear.
She did like lunge for the red cap, in a northern town, but it's very short sprint for a high adrenaline situation, not like a whole long distance.
I don't question Constance's fitness. I reckon she could like run me like as long as she wanted. That's not the point. The point is that was a demon. That's like motivation. Here's just some.
Yeah, it's not very dignified running through a field.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I will do as we suggested. Then go looking for tracks and seeing those entrances if there seems to be any obvious way in.
Okay. So make me an investigation roll.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. One success.
Okay. You don't see any tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bright day today. This area is quite overgrown. So it's not massively obvious if anybody has or hasn't been here.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the ground floor door, and it is very much boarded up.
Mm-hmm.
Would you try and get in there before investigating the other door, or would you go in and check the other door first?
I think I'd assume there's going to be an easier way, so I'll check the other ways that someone might go in.
So you head up the stone steps up the side of the building, and you get to this door, and you look at it, and for a second, there's something not quite right, and you can't quite figure out what it is, because the door's boarded up. But something in you's like, this is strange. And you suddenly see that the nails have been moved from the edges into the centers. So the wood is still all attached to the door.
Oh, but the door can swing.
But it's not in any way barricaded.
Mm-hmm. I see. I will open the door.
Okay. In the pub, you are presumably all sitting around a table having a chat with a drink.
Yeah, I guess we'd have gone in, totally in a normal way, just, being normal, having a nice normal chat.
Why is Bonneville the most awkward person in the world? I just have an image of you getting out the carriage and you've never been like this before. Everyone's like, what is going on?
If you're being that normal, Lucy Jenkins has definitely noticed you entering the pub.
That is my intention, that we are definitely noticeably normal.
Okay, can you all make vigilance rolls for me, please?
People in the pub, right?
Yes, sorry, yeah. I thought you were just saying, are we looking for people in the pub? There are some.
I
One
got
success.
A big nothing.
One success from 7 dice, I think.
Okay. You both catch a glimpse of movement outside the window. But it's probably nothing, just somebody passing in the street. And as Hooks steps into the top floor of this presumably abandoned mill, your eyes take a second to adjust the light. And then you see in the middle of this vast sort of upper floor, just an area in the center set out for sleeping in, and we'll leave it there.
Cool.
Oh, so much suspense, Johnny. an area in the center filled with corpses, an area in the center with a demonic gate. What are you going to say?
Like, there's a bed there is like the most okay thing you probably said.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat, and we will discuss them. Wednesday night, Simba Room. I think Simba Room's on this week, right? As far as we know at present. Wednesday night, Simba Room. Sunday at 3 p.m. normally, I think. The One Ring, which will run for a few hours on Sunday afternoon, which would be great. Come and join us on Discord. It's nice. And that's about all I have to say. Right, let's do XP. This will be the first time I think I've remembered the entire time. Questions for development points. Did you play at least one scene at the headquarters? No, you did not. Did you encounter a new type of Vaesen? No, you did not. Did you visit a place of magic? No, you did not. Were you subjected? Oh, wait, no, they're development points. These are the wrong questions.
Yeah.
It's fine. Everything's fine. The one time I remember it, I read the wrong
I did
questions.
it wrong. This is it's like in like 9 sessions, Johnny. We've been building up to this point all this time.
Everything's fine. We're all professionals. Did you participate in the session? Yes, you all did. Yeah. Get 1 XP. Did you confront any Vaesen? No, you didn't. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? No, you didn't. Were you affected by your dark secret? I don't think anybody was. Did you take risks to protect other people? I mean, Hux is in trouble now, but he was only protecting himself, I think.
I think I did. I genuinely thought there was a murderous person. That was actually my motivation, but we could judge that it was not actually true. So
I'm happy to go either way.
I think Henry and Hux both gallant, and Bede even ran gallantly after a potentially dangerous figure.
I'm fine with it. If you want an extra one, that's fine.
But it's risking their lives. I don't know.
I mean, I also went first into this mill, but I don't know if that's so risky.
I reckon Hux can have a point. Henry doesn't. Yeah. I don't think Henry needs one. But
have you learned anything? I would say yes. Did you develop something in your headquarters? No. Did you perform an extraordinary action? No. So 2 or maybe 3 if you think that you have risked life and limb.
I'll be greedy and take that 3.
Cool. So the other thing that I was going to say is, because it's a kind of a mechanical thing, the journalist came off the back of a roll when you developed the headquarters. And when you develop your headquarters, you roll for trouble.
I see.
Right.
Interesting.
I thought it'd be something like that. I didn't think he would be like once we worked out what happened. I was like, this is not going to be part of the main story. It's going to be some complication that's out there.
It's so annoying.
We haven't murdered anybody. I don't know where he's got that idea from.
You've been linked to a murder.
Linked to disappearances.
So's the whole town.
Quite right.
Yeah, but we did sort of discover a bleeding body in the middle of someone's garden.
I guess.
That's a bit more of an implication.
Yeah, but we hushed that up.
Yeah, we talked to the police. We got it all sorted out.
A better job of hushing stuff up. I think that's the lesson learned, isn't it?
I have such a good time imagining Constance saying that.
We hushed that corpse up.
Constance would totally not say that. That's all me.
Cool. Have we got any questions or comments in the chat?
We do. We have.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Nicer, maybe?
Nisser.
Nicer, yeah, thank you for joining us.
And also, I can't remember whether you... I don't know, you wouldn't have been part of the last round of thank yous. Thank you for following us. Along with Raphael MR219 and R. Trollson. And you've got Cal, who literally just followed us while I was looking at the screen.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, that was good fun.
Oh, medallion? I thought you said melon.
There was a bold play from Hux there. I just love that.
Yeah, that was great.
Yes.
I just had to go for. I was
never
just thinking, what would Hux do though? I know. I just love you. Like, no, but I was just like, nah. Hux has got through his whole life by like cheating and lying when he can get away with it. He was like, when she did the money thing, I was like,
What?
there is no way Hux would. He has money. We have resources now, but there's just zero chance of him offering money.
That's true.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where that goes. That's
Yeah, me too. I kind of do hope we find the medallion thing now, because I feel like this woman is not a good person to have, like, be on the wrong side
Dislike
of.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's super unclear, like exactly what she does as well.
I
Like
know, I
it's
know.
like sketch as hell.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I immediately
Yeah.
thought of the last week, the King in Yellow story, the Repairer of Reputations. I'm definitely getting a, yeah.
If she's something mystical. Oh.
Look,
Yeah, the medallion
as
thing was really
something.
Mosling always says, everything has a perfectly normal explanation.
No, totally weird. Only 2 people have seen this person. Still totally a ghost. Still totally 2 other
I also this
people with
ghost
the site.
this ghost idea becomes more and more reasonable the more I learn.
I did. I on my tweet for tonight, I put well, and it was only after typing it that I realised that it was actually quite funny. Yeah.
It is very true, though. It is very
And
true.
It's why I began Lady Spence's conversation about the well with "so" instead of "well." I almost said "well," and I was like, I'm not going to say "well."
Lady Spencer just refused to make that pun in her own head, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Now I'm excited now for next session. We might be going and having a wander in the moors in the night next session now. Oh, it's going to be good.
We had a suggestion for how to deal with the journalist that was following us.
I mean, that's
Look.
a little bit what you did.
I'm going to take the wealthy talent soon to have more resources. And when I do, the explanation is because my book has become a bestseller. So, this book is going to sell. All I have to do is spend 5 XP to guarantee that this book is sold. Like,
Are you buying the copies yourself? Is the question.
Ordering your family.
Just get Lucy Jenkins to sell them on to all the inhabitants of Bodmin.
There is a development for the base where you can get links with a journalist to sort of work alongside to get information for you.
That
Can't
could be
you?
quite cool.
So
They're going to say just you set up a publishing house in your headquarters.
That could work.
What I am hoping, because you're kind of building up, like in my head at least, I don't know whether you've thought of this, but you're kind of building up useful people throughout the stories. But I also like the idea of or at least the potential of you having negative things that can come back that are not like the specific stories that I have planned, if you know what I mean. Like yeah, I think that would be quite cool.
Yeah, like it was really fun. The idea of that guy following us in the previous session, we were just so thrown off by it. Like, this must be something to do with the mystery. It's just like, no, just some random journalist who showed up.
I honestly, I wonder how these things are. Because wait, have you incorporated this as all your own story, isn't it, Jonny?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, now that goes my plan. But what I was going to say was, I wonder how these things are written, because there seems to be a lot of red herrings in this.
Hi, Jonny.
That I suppose I'm saying. Yeah, I wonder how Jonny is writing this, because I'm like, half of these clues mean nothing. They mean nothing. They're just smoke and mirrors.
Going on.
There are so many red herrings
there's
in this
medallions. There's dogs and dodgy cartwheels. There's missing horses and missing men, and there's
the important thing
strange
is
ladies following and things.
The lights,
Yeah.
the rags.
We've got to see through.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the weird rags and the lights. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
What's going on with this mill now? God.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's too much information. It's too much.
We haven't even talked about
more questions that need answered.
We haven't even talked about the skeleton or the stone circles.
I think it's all misdirection, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, everything. The whole story is
very, very little of it is plot relevant, in my opinion.
I love it.
Travel to South America and sell the book along the Amazon River.
It's a good
Amazon
book.
bestseller.
Does that
Oh,
does
dear.
traveling on a river count as transport, right? But is it, if it's not man-made, does it interest?
It's not a
Mosling
road,
less?
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about.
not even a
yeah,
canal.
Exactly.
I was going to say,
Thank
how's
you.
Muslim
Canal,
feel about
that's me.
canals?
Canal's brilliant. Any
Yeah.
form of it, like, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. Mosley, he's such a brilliant character. All my characters, everyone's characters, especially mine. Mine the best.
We,
Do you ever want? Do you ever, when the viewers realize Justin actually he's not role playing. This is just him.
I was just about to say that I think Mosling would, like, if Mosling were in this game, he would think that his character was the best also.
Mosling is the
Yeah,
best
true.
character. He's obviously not the best character.
We also have a couple of theories. Well, one main theory in chat about what happened to Dan.
Did your husband recently have an argument with a horse? It was Stallion.
Yeah, I mean, clearly.
Oh, and
Yeah,
the little chat we had about criminal, that was funny when we were going around our group being like, oh, we could make a perfect crime novel. I couldn't help but be like, aren't you also a criminal, B?
No,
Not technically.
not technically.
Not yet.
Depending on how you
Give it
define
time.
crime.
I mean, it depends. Do you count a criminal as someone who has done illegal things or someone who has been
Yes.
done for the illegal things? In which
Well,
case,
if you-
who's it
if
that
you
can
rob a
really
bank,
judge
then
what is the
you're a-
illegal thing?
Goodness me.
You can be a criminal but not a convict.
I love how
Yeah.
once again, this line, that statement can only be said by two types of people: people like B and people who are not paying taxes. Who can really define what is crime anyway? If I take money from people, if I'm smart enough to work around the laws, doesn't that mean that the laws are stupid?
B may have broken some laws, but the laws are stupid and she doesn't want to follow them.
I'm
So
pretty
it's
sure I've heard this
fine.
kind of talk before.
Full disclaimer, these are not the views of Telling Tales. Please don't commit tax fraud or whatever.
Yeah.
Other crimes are available.
Other crimes are available. Oh dear.
Right, cool. Thanks everybody. Simbaroom on Wednesday, One Ring on Sunday at about 3 p.m. Follow our social media or join us on Discord to get updates on those. And I believe we'll be back next Monday for some more misdirection. And maybe like 17 more characters. I don't know. This is definitely like the story of mine that has the most characters in, right?
That's
like
great.
people who've played in my other things. Like I feel like this has like 3 times as many characters as anything else that I've done.
There's a lot of names
Are you going to start running out of accents eventually?
Nah, I've got like 3 more.
That's fine.
We'll find the limit. We'll find the limit.
Let's gather everybody into the same room.
Get them all to talk to each other.
Can I just get you all to literally just say your name, please? That would be.
GM's worst nightmare.
When you get like situations where
All right,
ask you to how NPCs talk to one another, and they're just and it's just like you just going back and forth. Like,
go around the circle. Everybody introduce themselves. Everybody say one fun fact about yourself, and yeah, we'll go around the circle, and then we'll see who the murderer is. Okay, good. So yeah, got that to look forward to, Jonny.
Oh, Jonny? Oh no, he's claiming he's. Oh right.
My headphones have just stopped working.
All right.
No, that's weird.
It's a great excuse for bowing out.
Yeah, we can end the stream now. You're all good.
So see you all next Monday, and thanks for joining us. To our returnees and the new people who joined us tonight who haven't been on one of these streams before. Thank you. And Simbaroom Wednesday, One Ring Sunday at 3 p.m, and we'll be back at 8 p.m. We're GMT, right? We're not daylight saving. Yeah. 8 p.m. GMT next Monday. Thanks, everybody.